Joining us now with more on the best out west, our beast from the east, Matt Norlander, breaking down this one. An exciting finish between Gonzaga in the conference championship game here, 88-78. You look at the box score, and it's not necessarily going to tell you the story of this game. Your initial reaction to this matchup?
Well, that's some good flow from Joe there. I would say this was exactly the kind of game that Gonzaga wanted. Now that it knows it's won it by double digits there, you get a good push. Quick thought on BYU. Jerry Palm projects him as an 8 seed. By losing, it's unlikely BYU is going to probably be on the 7 line. Not impossible, but BYU loses this, and then it's going to have to face a 1 seed again if it's able to win its first round game. The only consolation prize is the committee will not put BYU in an 8-9 matchup where it would face Gonzaga again. It will be in a different region altogether there. For Gonzaga, whew, I mean, listen, they had not had a real test in more than 2 months. They'd won 22 straight games by double digits. That's a record in the past 6 decades in college basketball here. We were riveted, obviously. We now have the 5th team since '76 to make the NCAA tournament undefeated. 79 Indiana State, 91 Vegas, 14 Wichita State, 15 Kentucky, and now 21 Gonzaga. And I tell you what, they're the 20th team ever to reach the men's NCAA tournament without a scar, with a 0 in the loss column. And I do like their chances, obviously, to make a Final Four and make a run here. But I wasn't surprised by the push. I spoke with the BYU staff earlier in the day. They considered it a house money situation. Certainly were intimidated by Gonzaga. This is a program that has knocked off Gonzaga recently. In fact, a few years back, ended Gonzaga's undefeated season in the last game of the regular season. So they gave them a great push after an absurd first half shooting display. They regressed to the mean. Gonzaga went Gonzaga and pulled away in the end. And now it will be the #1 overall seed on Selection Sunday.
And now we get to see if they can complete that feat that so many others were unable to. Matt, they're going to have to go up against some of the biggest and baddest names in the game as we move through the tournament. They're going to get tested by Power 5 type teams. Does the rest of the country now have a formula, a playbook on how to contend and how to maybe beat Gonzaga, or was this just an off-shooting night or an off-shooting half?
More the latter than the former. I mean, yes, there is a little bit of a blueprint. It's have an effective field goal percentage of 82.3% by halftime, which is what BYU had, and then it really dropped back. I mean, it made 70% of its three-point attempts in the first half, 13% in the second half. There was a major step back. It wasn't just all BYU, although some of it was three-point luck. Gonzaga was able to turn on the Jets as well. I tell you, though, it's Tuesday of championship week. Gonzaga will not play again at the earliest until next Friday, which is the first day of the first round. They might not play until Saturday. We'll have to wait and see how the TV schedule breaks down and all of that stuff. But I do think it is a good thing for Gonzaga that it got a real push in its final game. And it's not like it's a Big Ten team playing in a championship game on Selection Sunday or a Big East team playing in a title game and it's wrapping up at 9 o'clock on Saturday night before Selection Sunday. It's a much longer process here. Did teams get a decent look at how they could beat Gonzaga? Yeah, I guess theoretically. But come on now. You mentioned all those bad dudes. They got bad dudes. Jalen Suggs is ridiculous. It's impossible not to love this guy's game. He should be a top 3 NBA pick in my mind. He is amazing on both ends of the floor. Hit some huge, clutch, smooth, silky three-point shots tonight. And that was after Gonzaga came out of the break. And then Corey Kispert reminded everyone why he's got no business dropping out of the lottery in this year's draft either. He could have gone to the NBA last year and been picked. He decided to come back to school, and because he did, that's why Gonzaga is both undefeated, going to be the #1 overall seed, and will be the favorite to win the national championship. This would be a championship-level team without Corey Kispert on the roster. He wanted to come back for this very reason, and because of that, Gonzaga is the best team in college basketball.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that layoff plays, and it almost seems apropos in a season of long layoffs. They now have one between now and tip in the tourney. Matt, is there any value to a shock to the system for a team like Gonzaga? Yeah, you're undefeated. The goal is to go cut down the nets at the tournament, not just in the conference tournament. You check that box, you move forward, but they got tested here in this conference tourney final. Is there value to that moving forward to face some of those big bad teams that we talk about?
I do think there is actual value here. I don't subscribe to the notion, if Gonzaga had been defeated on Tuesday night and BYU got the auto bid, I don't subscribe to, if it had lost, that would be a beneficial thing, that it would refocus the team and make it that much more likely to win a national championship. I do think that competitive games, period, whether you win or you lose, a competitive game, and this was. I mean, it's only Gonzaga can win by 10 points and have it be a game that seemingly was on a razor's edge. It's the only team this is true of in college basketball here. But they got a good push from a familiar opponent that's going to the NCAA tournament that should certainly be a single-digit seed. And now, you know, it's got some scratches on its skin, and it will remember that once it gets into the field of 68. At least this is fresh in the mind. Gonzaga was tearing through the WCC. It did not get a challenging game until it played BYU. Its most recent challenging game before this was Iowa before Christmas. I mean, Gonzaga even rolled Virginia in Texas in its last premier non-conference game. So, Joe, I do think there's real value in this, and I know, knowing Mark Few and that staff, they will use this as positively as they can, because I will tell you this. I don't think that Gonzaga really has any shot at getting a real push in the first weekend. It's going to beat its 16 seed. If it wants to show mercy, it'll be by 25 points. The second round opponent it faces, the 8 or the 9 there. I think that team will have a real problem, you know, finishing within 15. The Sweet 16 will be the first time in the tournament that I think Gonzaga might maybe look up with 5 minutes to go in a game and see that the game is single digits. Realistically, though, given how well they've played and how they've dominated high-level teams in non-conference, they might not get a game like this again until the Elite Eight at the earliest.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.